What's up, people? Welcome to Coding with Jess, where you code along with me while I build a thing, in which I clearly need a shower and a haircut and other things like that. But today we're going to be doing something kind of fun on Coding with Jess. The last several months, I have been working on a project for a company, which eventually I'll be able to talk about who it is, but can't talk about that necessarily today. But helping them build out a text encoding layer for their product. And so this took me down a wonderful rabbit hole that I've been wanting to go in for several years now, called standoff markup. And so today we're going to be diving into, basically I'll be sharing some of the learnings that I've had in working with standoff markup for the last several months. I'll show off some demos that I built to kind of support the standoff stuff. And then what I'm hoping to do is actually build a visualization that demonstrates how standoff markup is different from, say, Markdown or HTML or other text encodings that you might be familiar with. So anyway, it's going to be maybe a little nerdier than normal, and most people, but I'm hoping that I can build some of the things today that will motivate the normal person to care about standoff markup. So as this is a Coding with Jess live stream, we will be coding for the next 2 hours, or working at least for the next 2 hours. And basically, I'm just going to talk out loud the entire time I'm working. As I'm thinking about things, I'll share my screen. I'll come over here to the whiteboard and write stuff on the whiteboard, and that kind of stuff. And I'll work in 25-minute blocks where I hit start on the Pomodoro. I'll take a 5-minute break at times and then come back to our, and we'll do 4 Pomodoros, 25 minutes each with 5-minute breaks in between, which adds up to about 2 hours. So that'll be our work session today. If you also want to chat in the YouTube chat, I'll be watching that as well. And yeah, feel free to say hi, and I will try to kind of keep my eye on that and watch and respond and stuff like that. So, all right, without further ado, let's dive in and see what we can do. Okay, so I think one of the things we need to start with today is what is standoff markup and what is markup? What is a markup language in general? The Wikipedia article on this is actually pretty good. And my hope is to put together a more to the point, coherent, explainer of standoff markup. That's one of the goals of today's work. But for now, let's just jump into the explanation that you find in Wikipedia. So anyway, when we're encoding text, we can obviously write things in sort of plain text editor. So I could pull up text edit, right? The good old standby text editor that ships with Mac OS. And I can type some stuff, and I've got plain text type stuff. Now, what if I wanted to make something in here bold? Well, this is a plain text file, right? So to make this into what is commonly called rich text, I do have access to some of those formatting things. Oh, wow, that's kind of cool. When I hit Command B, it bolds everything. So I never really noticed that before, but you can change the presentation of this plain text file in TextEdit, but what it's doing is changing the presentation of the entire file, right? Because there is no ability to mark up individual components of this file. This is plain text. And then if I want to make this into rich text, I can click make rich text. And now I've got a rich text format. Let's see if I can zoom in. Looks like, there we go. Haven't used TextEdit in so long. It's wild. And then you can actually highlight individual characters, and I can bold individual characters. I can italicize characters and all that kind of stuff. So I can kind of modify on the fly some of these things. So now we're in rich text, and the question is, how do you encode things like what I just did, like that bold, that italic? And you start thinking about the underlying data structures of how would I store this line of text inside the data structure such that it's represented that way. And I can actually save this rich text file. There's a file format called RTF I can save that as an RTF document. Let's go ahead and hit save there. Let's open untitled.rtf in VS Code. And you'll see exactly how this is encoded. So let me close some of these other things because we're not going to be working with that today. Boop, open VS Code. It should try to open this binary file. Boom. All right. So now you can actually see how this file is encoded. So this line right here is the one that has rich text in it. You can actually see that there's this F1, which says this character is bold. F2, the F character is italics. The I character is also, or sorry, the F character is also italicized or bolded. So you can see basically these are like off little different marks that basically represent, I'm actually not sure how the RTF format works precisely, but this, I know that /B is saying J and D are bold, /I is saying F is italicized, then it's saying K, A, and S are also italicized, I0. Maybe it's saying that, okay, the F1 is probably a mark. Anyway, this is, not sure how RTF works because I've never actually opened an RTF file and tried to study it, but this is an example of an encoding, a text encoding. And so today we're going to explore an alternative text encoding example, which is standoff-based markup. This markup is obviously unreadable to try and edit directly as plain text, and so so you need an editor that can interpret this this format, present it in such a way, and then you'll notice that this is a WYSIWYG, or what you see is what you get editor. So I come in and I can let's see, I can bold and hit save, and it will mark that ASD as bold. So you can kind of see how changes in the editor lead to changes in the file immediately. There's bolding that. And then similarly, I think I can actually come through and save over here. Oh, it doesn't reload the file. It's super interesting. I was wondering if it would work, if this is reading from the file system to know to reload it. Oh, it shows it as edited. That's kind of interesting. Kind of go back. Anyway, you could write this stuff by hand, but gosh, it would be awful. So what most of us are actually familiar with writing these days is Markdown. So this is, or many of us developers anyway, are familiar with Markdown. So we're writing a file here, and we're coming along with some text, something, you know, you've got things like bold text, blah, blah, blah. Now, there are all sorts of problems with Markdown. I'm not going to go into those today, but you can see how you get, there we go, cool. It has been changed by another, let's revert. Ha ha ha, we unbolded that. So it recognized the file system change and reverted. We unbolded it by editing it directly. Let's go ahead and close that RTF file. So another example of a text encoding is Markdown. And Markdown is what's called, what's known as procedural markup. I only learned this by reading the Wikipedia page, but what it means is that the markup of the file, or the markup of the text is encoded in the text itself. So like this pound space indicates that this everything on the line from this line to the end of this line is a heading, heading 1 actually. And the similarly with the bold here. Now, another example of a procedural markup would be HTML itself. So some header, HTML, I can put a paragraph in here, some text, I can surround that text in bold, oh sorry, /B. I know HTML, I swear. All right, so there we go. You can do things like that. Now, this is also procedural in the sense that the tags themselves are in the actual, the text itself, just like it in Markdown. So a third way to do this, each of these has some drawbacks. These are what are called hierarchical editing formats. So in this case, or hierarchical formats. So in this case, you would have something like, you know, this sum header is going to be a top level thing. Then we've got this P some, and then underneath the P, we've got this B tag, and that's text. And so you can see that this like text lives within some, and there's one way of representing this text. And even more importantly, there's some things that it becomes very hard to do. So for example, if I wanted to italicize a few characters here, if I wanted to have a span of italics that spans all of this across these bold tags, then I have to do these like really awkward things, like in the italic there, and then start another italic here. So you basically have these like two ranges that intersect over the top of one another. And so overlapping markup becomes very difficult to execute on. So overlapping markup is hard. So for hierarchical procedural text encodings, you have this weird problem of overlapping markup being really bizarre, difficult. And then, as I mentioned a second ago, the actual underlying text of this file that we're talking about here is some header, some text, and italic. Now consider for a second what we're talking about here. So this, like, how would you represent this thing as a tree? So this was my like hierarchy that's created by this. So then we come out of it and we have I again and italic. So this is what it looks like when this, like right here, this italic is actually one range that wants to be italicized together. But the way that we have to represent it using a hierarchical format, we have to represent these two things as distinct ranges, even though they were, let's say they were italicized at the same time, which creates problems for the editor, creates problems for like the logical representation of the markup, which is this string, this section from before the X to after the C should all be italicized together. But because of the idiosyncrasies of the hierarchical format, you're forced into like making these kinds of awkward choices. So like I mentioned, here's the raw text of the format. Here's a hierarchy, and then here's some HTML. So the raw text is here, some header, some text in italic. Another way to do this would be to use standoff properties. So if I use standoff properties, I could just describe, let's say that this is the first line of the raw text. And so this right here is character 0. I could say, let's say a mark type is heading, and the start offset is 0. The end offset is, let's see, what is that? Looks like 11. Is that right? I'm looking down here at the bottom right-hand corner. So I think it'd be 10 because it's actually one based. So we could have this array of standoff properties that represent exactly what we want to represent. Now, here where things get interesting is when we come down and represent this bold and italic set that I just showed off. So let's see, mark type, we can say bold is the start offset, end offset. For the bold one, we actually, looks like this is character, if we just order the characters from top to bottom, then we would end up with like 0 through 11, or 0 through 10 is this first thing. There's probably a hidden character here of a /n, another /n here, and then you end up with this being character, let's say 13, doesn't really matter. And so we started the bold at that, so that's like character 17. So now we can say from character 17 through character 21, I think. I'm doing my math right, it's 4 characters, is bold. And then we can take that same set and make a mark type of italic. And this italic starts 2 characters later, so it starts 19 and it runs through the end of the line, which was, let's say, character 27 or whatever. Now, instead of this weird hierarchy here, where I have the bold, I have the italic split by the arbitrary nature of the fact that the text is bold. In fact, this is wrong. I'm gonna have to do like, the hierarchy would say like, oh, no. The hierarchy takes care of the fact that it's bolded. Sorry. The fact that it's nested underneath this bold tag says this, that implies that that is also bolded. Instead of having this italic split across the fact that the bold tag, we have to represent this as a tree because it's a hierarchy, then I can actually have 3 logical things: a heading, a bold, and an italic. And it doesn't matter that that they overlap in weird ways. That overlap in weird ways is purely a implementation detail of a tree-based, hierarchical-based format. So that's kind of cool that we can do these sort of logical things, but it gets better. So because everything is these like standoff properties, I could also represent properties that would be difficult to represent in HTML. So I could say, I could have like a mark type comment, a start offset. So then in this case, let's say that maybe that word sum at the beginning is going to have, so that was, I think we said line or character 15, and end offset is character 15 plus 4 is 19. And then I could say comment text, some, this word sum at the beginning of the line is silly. So now I can represent comments as annotations as well on top of this rich text. So the point here is that you can have arbitrarily complex annotations on top of your raw text. And then when you go to render this raw text in an editor can decide how it wants to present the annotation, or even whether it wants to present the annotation. It's not forced into presenting it in a certain way. I know I promised that I was going to work in Pomodoros and I forgot to start the first one, so I'm starting it right now. Boom, start, go. All right, back to this. So what's really powerful here is we can have these different annotations which represent different types of data, and they can be represented by the viewer or not represented by the viewer. And you basically have flexibility. Oh, right. So sorry, that's right. I remember where I was going before I started the Pomodoro. So what the really valuable thing here is you have separation of style from content. And in a procedural content language where you're inherently encoding something about the style or the semantics, if you want to use the semantic HTML idea, into the content itself. And so these things end up getting represented as ASTs. Like there's all this other sort of stuff that comes along with this that's challenging. But if you separate the style from content, or even to put it more specifically, you separate semantics from the content, then you can have many different layers of semantic meaning. And this is the really interesting thing that I've been musing on too, is that these different layers of semantic meaning also enable different authors to layer their particular semantics on top of the document. So this enables multiplayer, multiple authors to overlay their semantics. So for example, we could have because these are just properties. These annotations have all these different properties, and then the editor chooses how to display them. We could even have an author tag that's like author Jess, author John, whatever. And then I could have the editor display only the annotations that are appropriate or that were created by me, or we could even flag specific annotations. So we could have like a John layer and a Jess layer. This enabling multiple authors stuff was taken pretty seriously by the Ink and Switch group that worked on a CRDT for rich text called Paratext. So if you haven't read the Paratext paper or been exposed to it, it's really great. And they basically observed that having an annotation based or a standoff markup or I mean, I guess they refer to it as annotations here. I don't know if they actually refer to standoff markup at all. They don't, yeah. They do refer to @JSON. Store formatting spans alongside a plain text sequence would be another way of describing standoff-based markup. The semantics, the formatting spans stand off from the main content, and that's where the term comes from. But they observed that by separating the raw text stream and the annotations in this way, it enabled them to build a CRDT that was very effective for rich text and solved some of the weird cases that you come up with in rich text when you don't separate annotation from the raw content. So anyway, there's a quick overview of what I think is awesome about standoff markup. That was totally on the fly. So my hope, like I said, is to package this knowledge up inside and to display it in like an explorable explainer. So that's what we're going to spend the rest of the time on. Hopefully, if you're watching this live stream or watching this recording, hopefully you now have enough knowledge of the way that standoff markup works as compared to like HTML or Markdown, that you can start to imagine how we might do this. And I understand, like, from going through this process over the last several months myself to like deep diving on standoff and understanding things about it, it takes a little while to get your head around the real value of standoff, which is where I think it needs an explorable explainer to get people ratcheted up on the value of it more quickly. But anyway, now that you have enough background, let's jump into the explorable explainer that I was thinking about designing today. So the important things about the standoff markup, you need the raw text, the text stream here, and these are actually from a demo that I built over the last couple months for a specific company that needed help figuring out how to encode their data format. And I'll show you the demo in a second. So these diagrams I'd already created these over the last several months. But the important things you need the raw text stream, and you need the numbering of the characters in the raw text stream in order to get the offsets that you're going to use for the annotations. And then you need then you just have an array of annotations that have a type, so you know, are you doing bold, are you doing italic, all that kind of stuff, as well as like a start and end. And then let me take a second to respond to something right over here, and I'll be right back. Do 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 do. All right, back now. Okay, so how could we build? What I'd love to do is have an explorable explainer where you can actually type in some text and then get where you actually could type in text, and I think I want to enable like some basic rich text stuff, like bold and italic and header, and then see a visualization of how that might be different in, I think, kind of what I just showed, like in VS Code. So it would show the difference between a hierarchical format and the standoff properties format. And I really like the visualization in the paratext paper that they showed here. Well, actually, I already pulled it into this guy right here. So this is actually from the paratext paper. They used it to actually demonstrate their operations, but their operations are effectively annotations. So it's basically saying from this character offset to this character offset, the operation is add mark bold. And so you could easily think of that as bold. I think this is a nice like demonstrate or like way to visualize the different layers. Let me show you the other. They have another diagram in here that shows multiples. This one shows multiples, which is nice. That one does. I think yeah, this is the one that, this is a nice one right here. So then you get to this idea of two spans. This is exactly the case that I was just showing in VS Code, right? Where you have a bold and a italic that are both, that would normally cause a split for a hierarchical based format. And so you could show both of them. And so I think this could be like a pretty powerful way to show the underlying representation. Now, to give you, let's go look at another one, Speedy. There we go. So Ian Neal of the Codex editor actually built a little standoff-based editor tool, like a demo, and I wanted to show off his demo, not necessarily the paper. Maybe this paper has the let me see how I can find it. Codex. This is the GitHub repo. It's like my computer's slowing down. I think good old kernel task is eating me up here a little bit. All right, this happens as the weather gets warmer. My computer can't fan itself adequately and starts to slow down. All right, here we go. Okay, so Ian created this really nice little standoff editor that's like a full editor. It has a bunch of, you can jump into a specific annotation and then kind of see what some of the properties are. You can edit a lot of different things about it. You can comment on it, redraw it, you can remove it. I'm not sure what bind and unbind do, but and then he has several different example documents here that you can load. And while this is like a really interesting little demonstration, what I don't think this does is it doesn't demonstrate the difference in sort of the data structures for between a standoff-based markup and HTML, Markdown, other sort of formats. And so I'd like to, I think I'd like to build something that's a little bit smaller than this. I mean, this is actually pretty darn full-featured and would take a while to build all of. Super interesting though. Yeah, web links. You can have multiple overlapping links, which is a weird concept, yet makes total sense. Like, think about the way that we do that on the internet, where we have like this this colloquial thing where we'll link each word in a sentence to different places, which doesn't make sense. Like if a concept could be linked to multiple sources, it should just have links for the whole sentence to the multiple sources, but there's no way of representing that in HTML. And so we have these like little like folk practices for linking to multiple sources, and we can do better. So I think something smaller that represents maybe only a single line of text. That way we don't have to get into block editing. We can just do inline formatting, because block formatting is another, like how you handle blocks is actually one of the main things you would need to explore if you're gonna build a standoff-based markup system. So maybe we start with this and see where we can get to. So let's see, let's go over to my GitHub. Let's clone my SK starter. Let me see if there are any pull requests against it. If okay, cool. There's not any. The bot has not updated any of my dependencies. Let's use this template, create a new repository. This one will be called standoff explainer. I hope that I'm not going down a rabbit hole with the standoff markup term, as opposed to, because I noticed that Paratext does not use that term. @JSON is the other major project that has done incredible work on an annotation-based markup, and I would guess that they may not use that term as well. Yeah, they don't use it either. Yeah. How do they describe annotation? What does a document look like? A document has a content field and a list of annotations. I guess one more place, before I'm just thinking about what name I want to give this repo, not that I can't rename it later. Rename repos on GitHub is pretty cheap. One more thing that I'll look up before I do that is Blaine Cook, interchange @JSON. Gave a talk on tools for thought interchange a while back, and I'm curious how he described it. Potential format for interchange. It's essential. Many current content formats do not strive for rigorousness, instead trying the constraints. When constructing this format, we chose to separate the original text from the data associated for this purpose. Yeah, separating the text from the annotations is, yeah. So maybe standoff isn't the universally accepted term. It is the one that is used on Wikipedia. So if you go to the overlapping markup page, there's several solutions to the overlapping markup problem. And standoff markup is one of the potential solutions to the problem. And so that it is a term that's relatively well accepted, so I'm going to kind of stick with it. Should I use a hyphen, not a hyphen? Not going to try and optimize for that right now. But let's go. Looks like Ian in his standoff properties did not use a hyphen when he built it. So we'll just do standoff explainer. Create a repository here. Let's go to iTerm. Bring this up. Eventually I'm going to have to like set up a separate machine to run my streamer through, so that I'm not bogging down my main machine with video encoding. Or maybe I'll have to update this machine to an M1 or an M2 at some point. It's still running an old i9. Documents code. All right, now let's do a git clone. Boop. Yes. CD standoff explainer. Do a npm install. Npm run dev. While that's installing, open it in Visual Studio Code. Chugga chugga chug. Ugh, npm install. Probably should be using like PNPM or something to share packages, because I use all these same packages often. That's why I have a SK starter repo that allows me to jump in really quickly. I wonder if there's anything else I can kill. It's running. I guess I can kill Slack. Obsidian I'm still using. All right, this is running now. Localhost 5173. So my Svelte Kit starter is a TypeScript Svelte Kit Tailwind starter app that allows me to very quickly spin up a new project that I want to work on. And then I just have a couple of repos that I have to, sorry, directories that I have to delete in order to get started. Looks like there's a new update of the April update of VS Code out. I'm not gonna, I mean, usually that thing is pretty easy to install, so I might do it at some point, but I'm gonna leave it alone for now. Or I might do it at some point today, I should say. All right, so within my source directory here on SvelteKit Starter, I've got our routes folder. You may or may not know, SvelteKit is like file-based routing. I have an FE page here that allows me to, ugga mugga, things are running slow. I don't know why it's so much slower today than it is most days. Let's see if there's anything running in a background process that I could kill. Computers, why are they so slow? So OBS 64 is the encoder that's like encoding the video and sending it up. Kernel task is my computer trying to keep itself cool by running the fans like mad. And yeah, I don't know that there's anything else that I could kill here. Code helper. Yeah, all this other stuff is things that need to be running in order to run a live stream. So yeah, eventually I need to get a separate machine set up next to this machine that's actually running as an encoder only, and pipe the video output of this machine over to that machine. And I don't know, it's a lot of work. It's actually rather fun work, but I just haven't taken the time to do it. All right, so we can delete, let's see. I'm gonna delete everything in here and delete everything in the FE folder. We'll move this page.ts up to the top level. I think this one, yeah, this is what we want. We want client-side rendering, no server-side rendering, so we're not doing anything on the back end, and then pre-rendering true. And this will basically generate a like client-side only application. Let me go ahead and delete the FE directory because I'm not going to need that. All right. And then hello world. There we are. Awesome. And we do have a layout file that has a nav bar in it, which we don't actually need. So I'm going to delete that too. And we don't really need the padding either. So I'll delete that for now. All right, wonderful. So we are in. Okay, so now we have a SvelteKit app up and running. We can now start with some of the visualization. So I think we have the Figma open up here. Let's start with a trying to decide if we want to start with like the data model or start with the presentation layer. Do we want to work our way from the front end to the back end or the back end to the front end? And I'm going to say, let's start with the data model. So our let text content equal, let's do exactly what we have here. I think it's, what is it, the fox jumped. Yeah, we'll do that. I'm going to save these files as explainer files because that was kind of fun. Explainer, standoff, explainer file. I guess I'll make it like Markdown or something. Oh no, it auto formatted it. Actually, I might copy this out and then all right, copy that into there. Oh, what I really need is that. I want this to be raw formatted. Okay, cool. Copied it into my Obsidian. And I can go now close that other VS Code instance. Boop. That'll free up a little bit of processing power. Oh, I closed the wrong one. Gosh darn it. Don't save that. And let's open that again. Whew, man. This makes me want to be, wow, it's slow. Good grief. I have a feeling it's only gonna get slower. I'm gonna have to figure out how to cool my, I guess I can turn the air conditioner on in here. Fan speed. Hopefully that'll cool things down in here enough that my computer will be cooler and run faster. So let text content, and we just said the fox jumped is the text content. Let annotations equal an array. We're gonna need a type for these annotations, so we'll call it mark and type mark. Sorry. And this is going to be a mark array. Look at Copilot already being helpful for me. Alrighty. Start, end, type. Let's go look at our annotation one more time. We have bold from the beginning to the end of the fox, so it'd be 0. Nope. All right, cool. Well, we're at our first 5-minute break, so I'm gonna take 5 minutes, and I'll be back in a few minutes, and we'll keep going from there. See you guys in a few. Hey folks, welcome back to Coding with Jess. We're in our second Pomodoro of the day, focusing on a standoff-based markup. And just noticed that I'm making noise over here. Yeah, so in our second Pomodoro of the day, focusing on a standoff-based markup explainer. So I'm going to jump right back into where we were. Currently, we have like a Svelte app that's running, and got a little hello world here. And I was starting to define the data that we want to display, and then we'll iterate over that data to display it. So we can do fun things like this because content should give us the fox jumped. Yes, it does. Fantastic. Now, interesting. So what we're going to have to do is parse these annotations and turn them into HTML. Interestingly, like this is exactly what, well, we don't necessarily have to do that. What we could do is, let's just, rather than parsing and turning it into HTML, let's just build this thing exactly. So we get, what I really want is like these little pills around each character. So let's do a, each text content dot split on that as characters. I don't want each annotation yet. What I really just want is the character, and we'll do a span for now. That lets us put some padding around it. Whoops. Padding around it, make the background color not white. What's a yellow 50 maybe? Something like beige-y. And then like rounded corners, like do like big rounded corners and a rounded medium. Cool. And we want some like right margin as well. Margin right 2. Hey, there we go. We're getting there. Let's go ahead and get some top margin around this whole thing. So we'll let's add class equals P4 around it. Actually, I really like the shades of colors in that mockup, so let's use that. Let's sip it with my little sip tool here. So we're gonna get F5, F5, F5. It's gonna be our background. Can do that on the actual app HTML. So we can get into the body here and say background is, that's the dark. I even did like, wow, night class anyway. Big background that trying to remember how to do custom backgrounds. I thought it was BG dash and then the oh, we can do slate 50. That'll work. Or slate 100. There we go. Cool. And then I think the pills are actually just white. So then background white here. Nice, looking pretty good so far. Let's make them bigger. Font size like text XL maybe. Yeah, looking nice, looking nice. All right. So then what we'll need to do is place our annotations down below as these sort of layers. So after we split the text content up, we're gonna need to do some like pixel calculation. So we might want to set these each to be a fixed width. Let me see, about 24. Oh right, we need to set this to inline block because these are spans. 24 is too narrow. Let's see, width 40. That's better. 8. 10 is fine. All right, and then we also want to text center this. That throws the text in the center. We also want to set a consistent height. Height looks like about 32. Nope, taller than that. Oh, it's much taller. It's like, there we go, getting closer. 14. That looks pretty good. There's no 13. I wonder why those empty spans are formatted the way they are. Maybe I need to say if character triple equals nothing, then output a at NBSP, a non-breaking space. Sorry, I need to. If the character is empty, then output that, else and output the character. Did it output those non-breaking spaces? Is my equality check correct here? Maybe that. Aha, here we go, getting along. And then I'll need to do like HTML. Nope, that's not it. Trying to remember. I could probably just do that, but I think that'll also, yeah, that's not giving me what I want. So, do I need the Unicode character? Unicode, NBSP. Dadgummit. It's doing HTML escape. HTML escape spelled. No, there's a way to do this. Special tags. Aha. Just need to wrap that in HTML. There we go. Sweet. And I might actually be able to get away with nothing here. Nope. All right, great. So sweet, it's coming along. So now we've got these things. We have a fixed character span. What's a P3? All right, now we want to do an each over the annotations. Annotation as annotations. What does it think I should do? That's pretty cool, actually. Nice try. Nice try. All right, let's do a div around this. It's I just love that you can get Copilot to try it for you. Class, this would be relative. Oh, that's so cool. It's getting closer. Why did we lose? Oh, for some reason I canceled our non-breaking space there. Boom. All right, nice. Looking better, looking better. Let's do a little top padding here. Margin top 3 or something. Bump it down a little bit. The math is wrong, but the basic idea is right. So the annotation start times 1.5, and then the width annotation minus times 1.5. So yeah, we're gonna have to do more than that. It's gonna need to be. Oh yeah, this is roughly right. So like if let's make this whole background, like make it darker or something so we can see it. Oh, these spans don't exist, so it doesn't. man, okay, so we've got margin on these guys. That's margin right. And so in order to get, I need to know this full width here. Let me do an inspect. Computed. So the full width of the span is what? 32 with padding on either side. It's got to be equal to this width 10, 40 pixels. All right. So let's say times 40. Seems like too much. Yes. Oh, it's rem. That's why. Pixels. There we go. All right. Now we're getting closer. So now it should be times 40, because there's a gap between each one as well. So it's, which is 12 pixels, and that's the padding. Where's the margin right? There it is. Margin right is 8. So this should be 48, 48. And we can go through and extract these magic numbers out into variables at some point. Nice. Yeah, and we want to remove annotation end minus annotation start times that minus 8. That should bump it back. Oh yeah, looking good, looking good. This is cool. All right, so how do they look here? Oh, nice. So this really nice looking bubbles where the actual mark name is inside the bubble, which is cool. I like that a lot. Let's do that with annotation dot mark or type. It's looking good, looking good. All right, so then this is going to be border red 200 border, or sorry, B3. I'm trying to remember how to do border thickness. B3. Is it border spacing? That doesn't seem right. No. That's border width 1. I want more border width. Jeez. What's the Copilot way to say add a border width to this? No, I don't want to disable Copilot. Boom. Come on. Copilot. Open completions panel. No. All right. ChatGPT is faster. There we go. Pull ChatGPT over here. Hopefully they're not over capacity right now. How do I set the border width thickness using Tailwind? Probably could do this faster by searching the docs, but oh, it is just border dash 2. Okay. Let's try border 4. Yeah, that looks nice. Compared to the Figma, border 2 might be better. All right, great. Good there. And then, oh, they do a nice job with the background color as well. Background red, 100 maybe? 50? Is that too light? No, 50 is nice. All right, cool. And then what we probably should do is have different colors for each one, but the important thing here is these are not the right numbers. So we want to show overlaps, and this is gonna show our problem really clearly actually. Let's go to Figma. We had V through Fox, which is 0 through 7. It'd be 7, and then we got to decide whether we're going to do end or beginning. So 0 through 7, and then Figma, back over to Figma. Here we go. This one starts before character 5 and ends after character 17. Before character 5, after character 17. And now we should see the problem. All right, so for each successive annotation, we need to bump them down. So we'll need an index here, and we'll need a top. I times 30, yeah. Yeah, you got the right idea. I times 24, it thinks. Oh, I've already got a top 0. Why did that break the width calculation? Did I? Oh, because oh, no, -8 is correct. Let me delete it real quick and see why it. So those are good. Why would setting the top on these cause problems in terms of the width that they expand out to? That doesn't make a lot of sense. Oh, because that top tag is broken. Okay. No. Oh, you can break across squigglies, but you can't. Oh, I know. Semicolon. Semicolon. Boom, there we go. All right, so now we need the appropriate height here, which I'm guessing is gonna be 36, 45, 45. Rad. Okay, cool. Let's see, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, it would be sweet to like show the character offsets too. Let's see how we might do that. They're shown above, I guess. There's start 1, 2, stone above the pill. Let's see. Yeah. So we could have another span that has the I in it, and we can just set the same thing to inline block, and same padding. No, the same width and the same. No, it doesn't. Height doesn't matter, and the same right margin. Whoa, that's wild. That's not what I was hoping for. Oh, right, because we need to. We would need to do this as a whole line above. There we go. And then we'll need to make sure that we wrap each one in a div so that we get a break before and after. It's looking good, looking good, looking good. Now let's do a text center as well. Now we can give a little bit of margin bottom. We'll do text mono, wait, no, font mono, text color gray 300 or something like that. Oh yeah, starting to look good there. Nice. Okay, so now you can actually see the text offsets. I wonder if we should do, kind of like the way those fonts look. I think I'm gonna duplicate that down here. Font mono. Maybe we can put the beginning and end offsets in each one of these. So let's see. This goes from 5 to 17. Why are there not? I guess we want to go from 5 to after 14. Ah, it's a before thing. So we would do 15. Yeah, boundary conditions we'll want to think about here. Cool. So we're like in business already. What we'll want to do is let's get an array of colors here. I want to make each one of these different colors. So like what we can do is have an array of strings. We'll do Tailwind CSS colors, and that way maybe it'll do a better job of suggesting those. And then for each one of these, we'll do colors sub I and colors sub I. Nice. Now we get different colors the whole way down. And apparently there's no border color that's that color. What? There's no border yellow? Border yellow. YOLO, what's up with that? Because we're not getting, let's inspect the source real quick. Border yellow 200. Oh, because it doesn't know to load all of those. Right, I ran into this before. How do I force Tailwind CSS to load specific, to preload specific classes that are added dynamically? That's right. So under @layer, here's an example of how to use @layer to preload the HoverBG100 class. No, I don't want to do that. That's nasty. I don't want to have to recreate it. The BG Gray 100. A list of class is to Tailwind CSS that it will preload and maintain its existing styling. Tells exclude this class from the purge process. Ah, there we go. Yes, that's what I want. Safe list. Sweet. All right, so let's go over to Tailwind CSS config, module purge. Let's go dadgummit. All right. This is a goodest place is any to stop. We're um, two Pomodoros in, and we've got a nice little, um, oh my gosh, the whole time I was not sharing my screen. Sad panda. So after 25 minutes of watching me gesture at the thing, we'll come back. You should totally, I hope you've skipped to this point, and we will jump back in. But yeah, here's what's been happening for the last 25 minutes that you have not been seeing anything. We actually now have this nice little presentation of the annotations down here, the raw text content up here. We can change the annotations and add a new one, like comment from 0 to 2 or 0 to 3, and it automatically adds right here. We need to work on getting all the colors in, and maybe we run some lines up like the way that this works. That will be pretty interesting to try and pull off. But so far we made a lot of progress. So it sucks that I had the wrong screen up the whole time though. Anyway, I'm gonna take a quick break. Be back in 5. All right, I'm back. I'm going to go ahead and get started on the next Pomodoro. Things are going really well here, and I'm excited to keep moving. So I'm going to do that. Let's go over to Tailwind config and put in a safe list here so that we can not have purge remove our stuff. Let's see. So that would be purge. Whoops. Don't want that. Purge that. Options, this, safe list, this. We want all of these things. We want their what? Their border dash colors dash 200 and border and BG dash 50. So it'd be border. Ugh, there's got to be a better way to do this. Actually, there is. Multi-column edit. That is the way. Let's do break these over multiple lines. And then close that. Those styles don't exist, but we can do, I think it's what? Option drag? No. Command option drag? Command drag? Control command drag? I always forget what the multi-select is in. And nope. 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 Ugh. Seriously, can't believe I have to Google for this again. Columnar select in VS Code. Hold down Alt. All right. Lies. It is not this. I was doing something. So no. Alt. Come on. You know what? We'll do it this way. Border dash red dash 200. And we'll just use, oh, come on. Disappointing. Columnar select is not working somehow on my version of VS Code today. But I don't feel like screwing around with it too much more, so I'm just going to go border 200. All right, so we want to preserve all of those, and jumping back over to here. Great, we got our borders now. Now let's bring in the BGs. Oh, okay, so if I just click, it's working, but it's not working if I drag. Come on. Change to dash BG. Aha, there we go. Oh, we finally got it. Except it didn't bring those in. Oh, because I'm using 50. That's right. So we gotta do search for 200, replace with 50, go. There we go. Bam! Nice! Bold, italic, comment. This is gonna be so cool. All right, so now that we have those wrapped up, we can actually put a an input up here at the top, which we can bind to text content. And then watch this. Oh Yeah. Nice. So now I can modify on the fly the text content, which is pretty cool. But more important, man, so we probably want this to continue off the right hand side of the page. So let's jump into this div and then say overflow X scroll, I think would be the thing. Hey, I said X, not Y. Or wait, do we want to do Y? Is it Y? No. I don't know why it's drawing both. Overflow scroll. Oh, because we're doing it at the, yes, sorry. I need to do it at the body level, which is up here. So then this should be overflow X scroll. Cool. Now if I continue typing, dadgummit. Okay, gotta get this working. It's super cool though that you can just like type it out, but I want to keep scrolling. All right. If it doesn't work at the body level, is it Y? Nope, that isn't it. Let's see. So we'll drop that scroll there. It's so satisfying to see the things typed out. Now we're gonna have to figure out some creative way to do each one of the to like do annotation editing as well, because that's not something that they covered here in the mock-up, or that they had to deal with because it wasn't interactive. But gosh, this thing feels so good. Let's see. So we've got a div that's right underneath the body. Alrighty, testing. Let's do ourselves some inspections here. I guess it's this div that we need to be overflowing. Let's see if that. Oh, and I'm making edits in the style tag, not in the classes. That's not going to do anything. Okay, so then let's see, jump down to the div here. Ah, and we'll need both of these to, we'll need these to scroll together. Okay, okay. So we did something kind of hacky here to separate the two things. So we can just do a BR to separate them. Now they're in the same div, which is what we want. And we'll do overflow X scroll, I think. And I really want no scroll bars though. Contain, maybe X auto. All right, and then I'll jump this. Nope. Dadgummit. Why is it force wrapping that? I really don't understand. Let's inspect it. Especially because aren't these absolute positioned? No, they are not absolute positioned. They we just compound them off one another, which is the right thing to do because these absolute position ones need to be positioned via pixel. Let me see. Maybe if I set overflow, maybe I'm, nope, still getting. All right, ChatGPT, in an HTML div, how do I prevent wrapping and force the of content and force it to create a horizontal scroll bar. That's what I did. Overflow X with auto. We've added the white space no wrap. All right, let's try that. No wrap. Let's see if that helps us out. Yes, there we go. Awesome. Sweet. So there, the one thing we want to do is add some margin bottom, like 10 or something, so that the scroll bar, doggone it, scroll bar jumps right up on top of us. How can we push that scroll bar down? Let's see. Maybe it's padding. I think we had margin bottom 1 before, is that right? And so if we do padding bottom 10, yes, it's padding. Okay, cool. So then, there we go. Nice. Oh, except we're also going to want the whole thing to scroll. So we need to bring these on the inside here. And we want to say height full. Min height full. Okay, now we're cutting off our, very satisfying to be able to type here. Oh, now we are not getting, did I say overflow X auto? Yes, I did. And so the overall height of this one needs to be height full. Why is that not min height full? Am I misreading which div that we're talking about here? Inspect. Ah, there's a div at the top level that needs to also be, let me just delete that one. And then now there's one more. Class and height full. Yuck. What's the mess here? Oh, I misspelled full? No, it's not misspelled. There it is. It's on the next line. So why is it only 85 tall? I bet there's like a height or a screen. Height screen. And not min. Oh, full measures the internal contents, you big goof. All right, there we go. Duh. Okay. Screen is the right parameter there. Okay, cool. Now we've got it. All right, so now I can actually go out to the right and we can scroll to the right and see how it continues out there, and we can continue our things expand out that way. Yes, this is cool. Okay, now let's wrap the whole thing in a little bit of padding so it jumps off the edge there. Oh, that didn't work. Class. Why did it not give me any padding there? Is everything absolute positioned? Let's see. No. Overflow X auto. White space no wrap min H screen. Huh. I'm not sure. That padding did not apply though. Interesting. Okay. So I could, let's see. I wonder if I went back to wrapping this in a div. Class padding 3. Yeah, there we go. Rad. And now if I type a bunch of stuff, I get a vertical scroll bar. Yes, this all looks good. And the one thing I'll want to do is min height. I want to account for that weird bump there, but I'm gonna leave it for now. Looks good enough. So great, we've got vertical scroll bar. We can edit the text content. We've got these different annotations. It's kind of hard to see where they line up, so we may want to like draw some lines down here at some point, but this is pretty good for now. We have colors. How do we want to do annotation editing? So let's draw a paragraph above this that says text content. Font mono, padding 3, padding X3, font small, all right, text small, and P margin bottom 1. All right, so there's our text content label. And then we need one for annotations as well. Annotations. Maybe we just draw them. How about this? Each annotations as annotation. Each yeah, that basically. Well done. Sometimes Ghost Copilot amazes me. That's pretty cool. So now we have, can I just edit? Oh, yes, I can. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. All right, so what we might want to do though, man, that's awesome. That is flipping awesome. And then this is the content. Yes. Sweet. All right, what if we like make this 0 to 1? Okay, cool. It just overflows that. Let me, for this span, let's make this overflow hidden, I think. So I'll make that one. There we go. Cool. So now it hides the overflow when it gets really small, if it's referring to only a single character. Oh, okay. This looks good. We're using flex here. The widths are 1/4. Let's do the widths like 1/8 here and see how that looks. Oh, we also need a label here. This is looking really good. I'm really excited about this. So then we have this markup. Maybe we make this extra large instead of small. All right, so now we have text content, which looks like that I can now edit. The fox jumped over the lazy dog. Can delete, and it will dynamically populate new ones. I need an add one. Let's see, so then one time at the very end of the div, add button. That does not do what I expected. On click, sure. What? Global is not defined. Is that me clicking add that's causing that? No. Okay. Get rid of this console log. Man, we are humming along here. So when I click annotations, push onto annotation a start, end, and a type. All that looks good. Yes, that console log. Yes, that's what I want. Okay, cool. So it did, oh, but we have to do annotations equals annotations for it to update. There we go. Rad. All right, and so we also probably want to skip over annotations that are not permanent. So this is working pretty well here. So you got the fox How about now? Oh gosh, I didn't charge my... Man, this has been a live stream comedy of errors at this point. I didn't charge the sound. Mm, so many little mistakes on this particular live stream. Might just delete this one when I'm done. I was running slow, but the fun thing is we've gotten a lot of cool work done here. So, sad panda. I wonder when the audio died, but I guess we'll find out. Let's see, bring that up to speed. Okay, so we've got our text content, we've got the annotations, we've got bold, italic, comment. Yeah, and so rendering this out is going to be problematic. Let's, like I said, we've done a lot of work here. Let's go ahead and add dot initial prototype of standoff visualizer. I'm pretty pumped about how far we were able to make it. Oh, there's an offending key and ssh/known host. Actually, let me switch to off of here for now, just a second, and because I don't want to show off my known hosts file. Line 3, delete that, quit, and then bounce back over here. Okay, cool. Now I should be able to do a get pull, get push, get pull. What? Oh, okay. Initial prototype of standoff explainer. There we go. Cool. Let's jump over to there's our repository here. We definitely should update the README here. README. Standoff explainer. This is a visualizer of a standoff-based markup of how standoff-based markup represents annotations and converts those into rich text. All right, got that. Let's commit that as well. Push that up. Woohoo, standoff explainer. Let's push this to Netlify. Log in. I don't need to add it. Okay. Let's see, from GitHub, authorized, standoff, that, boop-a-da-boo, deploy site. That should do it because there's no backend. This is like a static site almost entirely. And then domain settings, I do want to rename this to standoff explainer, and finally add a domain, standoff.jessmart.in. Remove domain. I own that domain. I don't know why it's giving me a hard time. There we go. Standoff.netlify.app. Oh, what did I rename it to? Standoff explainer. Which I should be able to say open function deploy. Wonderful. It is running. I still don't like that auto height thing, but I'll live with it for now. Standoff.jessmart.in, is that working? Nice. Boogie boogie. Yeah, so I love how fast it is to deploy to Netlify and get these things up and running. This is awesome. So yeah, you can add new spans. This one should span from 0 to 7 to 15 and be a something or other. I kind of want the lines to draw up to the top. I think that's kind of cool too. But this is, all in all, this is a good day's work. Whew. Okay, I think I'm gonna pause now and kind of reflect on what should be next. And whew. Okay, all right, so this has definitely been a comedy of errors live stream. There's been no video, or sorry, no desktop sharing for like an entire Pomodoro. Apparently my audio cut out at some point when my my microphone died. I'm sorry. So the live stream wasn't great, but we did make a ton of progress on this. So I'm actually going to go and share this with a couple folks that I've been working on standoff-based stuff with, and see if I can get feedback on what's next. Thanks for hanging out and joining. I hope those first few minutes, where if you go all the way back to like the first 20 minutes of this live stream, I talk about like what standoff-based markup is, why it matters, how it's different from a hierarchical format, and hopefully this little standoff explainer thing that we've been building will actually kind of demonstrate that that 20 minutes of talking and gesturing at the screen. Hopefully it'll be demonstrated by an interactive explainer once we get there. But been super fun working on this for a couple of hours, and I'll be probably continuing to work on this over the next week or so until I feel like it's actually accomplishing its goal. All right, well, join me next time for Coding with Jess. I do this every Wednesday. Just turn on the camera and talk while I'm working for like 2 hours, and so hope to see you again next time.